Welcome back to the channel, coin hunters and history lovers. Today we're uncovering the incredible story behind a small but powerful piece of American history. The 1935, S, 1954, S and 1914, S.USA. Abraham Lincoln Wheat Penny. At first glance it may look like just a dirty old coin, but hidden beneath that layer of time is a fascinating journey through the era of Abraham Lincoln, the struggles of the Great Depression, and the craftsmanship of the United States Mint. This tiny copper penny once traveled through countless hands nearly 90 years ago, buying everyday necessities and witnessing history as it happened. So stay with me, because by the end of this video you might never look at an old penny the same way again. And who knows, you might even discover that the next dirty coin you find could be a hidden treasure. Let's get started. First up in the Lincoln Wheat Penny from 1935. S is a fascinating journey through American history, craftsmanship, and the everyday lives of people during one of the most challenging decades in the United States. Minted in San Francisco Mint, this small copper coin may appear ordinary, especially when it is dirty or worn, but it actually carries a powerful connection to the era of the Great Depression. During the 1930s, coins like this passed through countless hands as Americans struggled to rebuild their lives. Every scratch, dark tone, or layer of dirt on a 1935 S wheat penny may represent decades of circulation, countless purchases, and the economic hardships that defined that generation. The design of the coin itself is deeply symbolic and historically significant. On the front, known as the obverse, appears the famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a design created by talented sculptor Victor David Brenner. Introduced in 1909 to honor Lincoln's 100th birthday, this portrait was groundbreaking because it was the first time a real historical figure appeared on a regular circulating U.S. coin. Above Lincoln's head is the word Liberty, while the date 1935 appears to the right, accompanied by the small s mint mark indicating it was produced in San Francisco. Even when a coin becomes dirty over time, the strength of Brenner's design often remains visible, preserving the dignity and legacy of Lincoln. Turning the coin over reveals the classic reverse design that gave the series its nickname, the Wheat Penny. Two elegant wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent and United States of America, symbolizing growth, prosperity, and the agricultural roots of the nation. At the top is the motto, E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one, reflecting the unity of the American states. For people living during the difficult economic years of the 1930s, the imagery of wheat had deep meaning, representing food, survival, and the hope of recovery. Even a dirty example of this coin preserves that symbolism, reminding collectors of the struggles and resilience of ordinary Americans. The 1935 S wheat penny is also notable because of its minting location and production numbers. The United States Mint produced approximately 38 million of these coins at the San Francisco facility. While that may sound like a large number, many of those coins were heavily circulated during the economic hardships of the decade, which means well-preserved examples are less common today. Collectors often find pieces that are darkened, stained, or coated with decades of grime, but even those worn coins remain valuable historical artifacts because they represent authentic pieces of American daily life. When collectors encounter a dirty 1935 S wheat penny, the condition tells a story that goes far beyond its appearance. Dirt and toning often develop naturally over decades due to oxidation and environmental exposure. Copper coins react with air, moisture, and oils from human hands, gradually forming darker colors ranging from chocolate brown to deep black. Many experienced collectors actually appreciate this natural aging because it proves the coin has not been harshly cleaned or altered. In the world of numismatics, originality is extremely important, and sometimes a dirty coin may be more desirable than one that has been improperly polished. Another fascinating aspect of the 1935 S wheat penny is how it reflects the economic environment of its time. During the mid-1930s, the United States was slowly recovering from the worst years of the Great Depression under the leadership of Franklin D. Roosevelt. Programs such as the New Deal aimed to stabilize banks, create jobs, and rebuild national confidence. Coins like the wheat penny circulated widely during this period, buying simple necessities like bread, newspapers, or public transportation. Though the value of 1 cent seems tiny today, in the 1930s it still played an important role in everyday transactions. Collectors today search carefully for the 1935 S wheat penny because its value can vary greatly depending on condition. A heavily worn or dirty example might only be worth a few dollars, but coins with strong detail and minimal work can command significantly higher prices among collectors. If a coin retains traces of its original red copper color or shows sharp wheat lines on the reverse, its value can increase dramatically. This makes every discovery exciting for collectors, because even a coin that appears dirty at first glance might reveal surprising detail once carefully examined. Another reason this coin fascinates collectors is the journey it may have taken over the past 90 years. A single 1935 S wheat penny could have traveled across multiple states, passed through thousands of hands, and survived decades hidden in jars, drawers, or old piggy banks. Some of these coins were even carried by soldiers during wartime in the 1940s, or saved by families as simple keepsakes. Each mark and layer of grime may represent a chapter of that long journey through history, giving the coin a character that shiny modern coins simply cannot match. Another fascinating detail about the 1935 S Lincoln wheat penny is how collectors often examine the smallest design elements to determine its rarity and desirability. Specialists carefully study the sharpness of Abraham Lincoln's hair, beard lines, and coat on the obverse, as well as the fine veins of the wheat stalks on the reverse. Even on a dirty coin, these details can sometimes remain surprisingly visible, especially if the coin experienced light circulation before being stored away for decades. Numismatists frequently use magnification tools and bright lighting to analyze these features because they reveal how well the coin was struck at the mint and how much wear it experienced over time. For serious collectors, discovering a wheat penny with strong original detail hidden beneath decades of natural toning can feel like uncovering a small treasure from American history. Another layer of intrigue surrounding the 1935 S wheat penny is the possibility of subtle minting varieties and die characteristics. Coins produced at the San Francisco Mint sometimes show unique die markers, small differences created during the striking process when coin dies begin to wear or develop minor imperfections. These markers might include tiny cracks, unusual spacing between letters, or slight doubling in parts of the design. Although not all 1935 S pennies contain major errors, collectors still inspect each example carefully because discovering an unusual variety can significantly increase its value and historical interest. The excitement of possibly finding such a rare variation keeps many coin enthusiasts searching through jars of old pennies, hoping that one overlooked coin might hold a hidden numismatic surprise. Ultimately, the lasting appeal of the 1935 S wheat penny lies in its ability to connect modern collectors with the everyday experiences of people who lived nearly a century ago. During the difficult years following the Great Depression, coins like this circulated through grocery stores, street markets, and local businesses across the country. Though it was minted by the United States Mint, its true story was written by the countless individuals who used it in daily life. Farmers buying supplies, children saving pennies in jars, and families stretching every cent to survive hard times. Today, even a dirty 1935 S wheat penny stands as a humble but powerful reminder that history is not only preserved in museums and books, but also in the small coins that quietly pass through the hands of generations. In the end, the dirty 1935 S Lincoln wheat penny is much more than a small piece of copper. It is a silent witness to the struggles and hopes of the 1930s, a tribute to the legacy of Abraham Lincoln, and a cherished collectible for modern numismatists. Whether found in an old coin jar, discovered in a flea market, or inherited from a relative, this humble penny reminds us that history often hides in the smallest objects. Even when covered in dirt and wear, it still carries nearly a century of stories waiting to be rediscovered. Next up to in the 1954 S wheat penny is a fascinating piece of American coinage history, representing the final years of one of the most iconic coin designs ever produced in the United States. First introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the birth of Abraham Lincoln, the wheat penny, officially known as the Lincoln wheat cent, became the first regular U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure rather than a symbolic image. By 1954, the design had already been circulating for 45 years, and coins from this period carry the marks of long economic and social changes in America. The S mint mark on the 1954 S penny indicates that it was produced at the San Francisco Mint, one of the most historic branches of the United States Mint. Even when found dirty or worn, this coin still carries the deep historical identity of mid-20th century American currency and the legacy of Lincoln's enduring influence on the nation. When you closely examine a dirty or circulated 1954 wheat penny, you begin to notice how time has etched its story onto the metal surface. The coin is made primarily of 95% copper with a small amount of tin and zinc, giving it a warm reddish-brown tone when new. However, after decades of use in pockets, cash registers, and coin jars, many of these pennies develop darker shades ranging from chocolate brown to nearly black. Dirt, oxidation, and natural wear can obscure some details, but they also give the coin a character that collectors often appreciate because it proves the coin has genuinely traveled through history. Each scratch, faded edge, and patch of discoloration hints at the countless transactions and hands that have passed it along. The obverse side of the coin features the famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner. Even on a dirty example, Lincoln's profile is usually still recognizable, facing right with the inscriptions "In God We Trust" above his head, "Liberty" on the left side, and the date 1954 with the small S mint mark just beneath it. This portrait was revolutionary when it first appeared in 1909 because it broke a long-standing American tradition of avoiding real people on circulating coins. By the time the 1954 penny was minted, the Lincoln portrait had become one of the most familiar images in everyday American life, symbolizing honesty, perseverance, and the nation's respect for one of its greatest presidents. Turning the coin over reveals the classic wheat ear design that gives the penny its nickname. On the reverse side, two elegant wheat stalks curve along the left and right edges of the coin, framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. Above these words appears the national motto, E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one. This design symbolized America's agricultural strength and prosperity during the early 20th century. Even when the coin is dirty or worn, the outlines of the wheat ears can often still be seen, reminding collectors of a time when agriculture played an even more central role in the nation's identity and economy. The 1954 wheat penny also has an interesting place in minting history because the San Francisco Mint produced significantly fewer coins compared to the Philadelphia and Denver mints in many years. In 1954, the San Francisco facility struck roughly 96 million pennies, which might sound like a large number, but is relatively modest in the world of coin production. Because of this smaller mintage, the 1954 wheat penny is often more sought after than some of its Philadelphia counterparts. While most circulated examples are still quite common today, coins in high-grade condition, especially those that retain their original red copper color, can command much higher prices among collectors. A dirty 1954 penny may not appear valuable at first glance, but condition plays a major role in determining its worth. Coins that show heavy wear, corrosion, or deep scratches usually carry only modest value, often slightly above face value to collectors who simply want to complete a wheat penny collection. However, if the dirt can be safely removed without damaging the coin and the underlying details are still sharp, the coin could potentially be worth more. Collectors look carefully at features like Lincoln's hair, the lettering, and the wheat stalks on the reverse to judge how much of the original design remains intact. Another fascinating aspect of the 1954 wheat penny is its connection to the final years before a major design change in American coinage. Just 5 years later, in 1959, the wheat design on the reverse would be replaced with the Lincoln Memorial design to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This makes the 1954 penny part of the closing chapter of the wheat penny era, which lasted exactly half a century from 1909 to 1958. For collectors, owning coins from these last few years feels like holding the final echoes of a classic design that shaped generations of American pocket change. Collectors also enjoy searching through wheat pennies like the 1954 for small minting variations or errors that can increase a coin's value. Although no extremely famous errors are associated with this particular date, minor variations such as doubled lettering, repunched mint marks, or unusual die cracks sometimes appear. These small anomalies occur during the minting process when dies shift or wear unevenly, leaving subtle marks on the finished coin. Finding such a variety on a worn or dirty penny can transform an ordinary coin into a rare and exciting discovery for a dedicated collector. Ultimately, the dirty 1954 wheat penny is much more than just a 1-cent coin. It is a miniature piece of American history. It carries the image of Abraham Lincoln, the symbol of national unity, the artistry of early 20th century coin design, and the marks of decades of everyday use. Whether it is found in an old jar, a forgotten drawer, or a collection passed down through generations, this humble coin tells a story about the people, economy, and culture of its time. Even when darkened by age or covered in dirt, the 1954 wheat penny remains a powerful reminder that every small object from the past can hold a surprisingly rich and fascinating history. Another captivating aspect of the 1954 Lincoln wheat cent is the journey these coins have taken through everyday American life. When these pennies were first released from the San Francisco Mint in 1954, they immediately entered circulation in grocery stores, bus stations, diners, and small-town shops across the United States. During the 1950s, a single penny still had meaningful purchasing power. Children could buy small candies, gumballs, or save them in glass jars for toys and comic books. Because pennies were used constantly in daily transactions, most 1954 coins experienced heavy circulation. That is why many surviving examples today appear worn, darkened, or dirty. Each stain or scratch on the coin's copper surface reflects decades of economic activity and the countless hands that once carried this tiny piece of American currency. The historical atmosphere surrounding the year 1954 also adds deeper meaning to the coin. The United States was experiencing a period of post-World War II economic growth and technological progress. Television was becoming common in American homes. Highways were expanding across the country, and American culture was entering a new modern era. Yet through all these changes, the small penny bearing the portrait of Abraham Lincoln remained a constant symbol in people's pockets. Lincoln's image reminded Americans of unity and perseverance, values that were still important during the Cold War era. Holding a 1954 penny today is like touching a silent witness to that transformative decade in American history. From a collector's perspective, the condition of a dirty wheat penny often raises an important question. Should it be cleaned or left as it is? Most experienced coin collectors recommend leaving old coins untouched because cleaning can remove the natural patina that develops over time. This patina, often a dark brown or deep copper color, actually protects the metal and helps preserve the coin's authenticity. If a 1954 penny is aggressively cleaned with chemicals or abrasives, it can lose fine details and significantly drop in collector value. For this reason, many numismatists prefer a naturally aged coin, even if it appears dirty, because it tells a more genuine story of the coin's long life in circulation. Today, the 1954 wheat penny continues to be a favorite among both beginner and experienced coin collectors. While it may not always be extremely rare, it represents one of the final chapters of the classic wheat-ear design that defined American pennies for half a century. Every time someone discovers one in an old coin jar, a family collection, or a forgotten drawer, it sparks curiosity about where the coin has been and what stories it could tell. Whether the coin is bright red, deep brown, or covered with decades of dirt and wear, it remains a treasured reminder of America's past and of the enduring legacy of the beloved Lincoln wheat cent. Next up in the 1914 Lincoln wheat penny begins during one of the most fascinating periods in American coinage history. The Lincoln cent series itself started in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, making it the first regular U.S. circulating coin to feature a real historical figure instead of symbolic imagery. By 1914, the coin had already become a familiar part of everyday commerce across the United States, but the San Francisco Mint produced a much smaller number compared to other mints that year. This is why collectors today consider the 1914 one of the most intriguing coins in the wheat penny series. Even a dirty or heavily circulated example carries a story of more than a century of American life, passing through the hands of workers, shopkeepers, soldiers, and families during a time when a single penny still had meaningful buying power. The design of the wheat penny was created by the talented Lithuanian-American sculptor Victor David Brenner, whose portrait of Lincoln became one of the most recognizable images in numismatic history. On the front of the coin, Lincoln's dignified profile faces right, surrounded by the words, "In God We Trust" above and "Liberty" to the side, along with the date 1914 and the small S mint mark beneath it. The reverse side features two stylized wheat stalks framing the words, 1 cent, and United States of America. These wheat ears symbolized prosperity and the agricultural strength of the nation during the early 20th century. When a coin like this becomes dirty or darkened with age, it actually highlights the depth of the design, showing how the raised details have survived decades of circulation. One of the reasons the 1914's Lincoln Wheat Penny is so famous among collectors is its extremely low mintage compared to other pennies of the era. The San Francisco Mint struck only about 4.1 million of these coins, which might sound like a large number, but in the world of Lincoln cents, it is remarkably scarce. During the same period, the Philadelphia Mint often produced tens or even hundreds of millions of pennies annually. Because of this limited production, many 1914's coins quickly disappeared into circulation and wore down through decades of everyday use. Today, finding one in any condition, even dirty, scratched, or darkened, is exciting for coin enthusiasts because each surviving piece represents a small fraction of that original mintage from over 110 years ago. Another fascinating aspect of the 1914's penny is how heavily it circulated during a turbulent era of global history. In 1914, the world was entering the dramatic years of World War I, a conflict that reshaped economies and societies across the globe. Although the United States did not officially enter the war until 1917, American industry and commerce were already expanding rapidly. Pennies like this one would have been used in everyday purchases such as newspapers, bread, candy, or streetcar fares. Imagine the journeys this tiny copper coin might have taken, traveling from San Francisco through small towns and big cities, changing hands thousands of times as the nation moved through a period of growth, uncertainty, and technological change. The San Francisco Mint itself played a crucial role in producing coins for the rapidly growing western United States. Established in the mid-19th century during the California Gold Rush, the facility became one of the most important minting locations in the country. The S mint mark on the 1914 penny represents this historic mint, and coins bearing this mark often attract collectors who appreciate the legacy of Western American coinage. Because the mint produced fewer pennies than Philadelphia, many San Francisco coins from the early 1900s are considered more desirable today. The 1914's wheat penny stands out as one of the key examples, especially when collectors attempt to complete a full Lincoln cent set. Interestingly, the value of a 1914's Lincoln Wheat Penny can vary dramatically depending on its condition. Even a dirty or heavily circulated example may still be worth hundreds of dollars because of its rarity within the series. Coins that have survived in better condition, showing clearer details in Lincoln's hair and the wheat stalks, can sell for thousands of dollars at auction. The most pristine specimens, graded by professional coin grading services, have reached astonishing prices because collectors are willing to pay a premium for coins that appear almost untouched despite being over a century old. Another intriguing feature collectors look for is the authenticity of the mint mark. Because the 1914's penny is so valuable, counterfeit versions have occasionally appeared where someone tries to add a fake S mint mark to a more common 1914 coin. Experts study the position, shape, and style of the mint mark carefully to confirm whether a coin is genuine. This makes the 1914's penny not only a rare collectible, but also a fascinating case study in the importance of numismatic authentication and expertise. A genuine example represents both historical significance and a tangible connection to early 20th century minting technology. Over the decades, wheat pennies have become one of the most beloved coin series among collectors around the world. Many people first discover coin collecting by finding an old wheat penny in their pocket change, or in a jar of coins saved by a grandparent. The presence of wheat stalks on the reverse design, combined with the iconic portrait of Lincoln, gives these coins a nostalgic charm that modern coins sometimes lack. When someone finds a 1914's penny, especially one that looks worn or dirty, it can spark curiosity about where the coin has been and whose hands it has passed through during its long life. Another remarkable aspect of the 1914's Lincoln Wheat Penny is how its survival over more than a century reflects the durability of early American coinage. These pennies were struck primarily from a bronze alloy consisting of about 95% copper and small amounts of tin and zinc, a composition chosen for both strength and longevity. Because copper reacts with air, moisture, and oils from human hands, many surviving coins today appear dark brown, dirty, or even slightly green due to natural oxidation. However, collectors often appreciate this aging process because it proves the coin's authenticity and long history in circulation. Each layer of toning, each scratch, and each worn detail is evidence that the coin traveled through decades of everyday life, quietly witnessing the transformation of America from a horse and carriage society to the modern industrial age. For collectors building a complete Lincoln cent set, the 1914 Lincoln wheat penny is widely considered one of the most challenging coins to obtain. In the world of numismatics, certain coins are known as key dates, meaning they are essential for completing a series but are also difficult to find. The 1914 penny holds this status because of its relatively low mintage and the heavy circulation it experienced in the early 20th century. Many collectors search for years before finally locating a genuine example at a price they can afford. This challenge adds excitement to the hobby because finding such a coin, whether in a dealer's collection, an auction, or even an old jar of coins, can feel like uncovering a hidden treasure from American history. Another reason this penny attracts so much attention is its connection to the broader legacy of the Lincoln cent series, which continued for decades after its introduction. The wheat penny design remained in production until 1958, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse. That means coins like the 1914 represent an early chapter in one of the longest-running coin designs in United States history. Over time, the series became deeply woven into American culture, appearing in everyday transactions and becoming a favorite collectible for millions of people. The earlier dates, especially those from the 1910s, provide a direct link to the formative years of this iconic coin design. Today, when someone discovers a worn or dirty 1914 Lincoln wheat penny, it often sparks a sense of excitement and curiosity. Coin collectors understand that even the most ordinary-looking penny can hold extraordinary historical value. The coin might have been carried in a pocket during the early days of automobiles, used to buy a newspaper reporting on world events, or saved in a child's coin collection generations ago. Each possibility adds another layer of mystery and fascination. This is what makes old coins so captivating. They are small, simple objects, yet they carry within them stories of people, places, and moments in time that would otherwise be forgotten. In the end, the 1914 Lincoln wheat penny is far more than just a small copper coin. It is a surviving artifact from an era more than a century ago, linking modern collectors to the early days of American industry, the legacy of Abraham Lincoln, and the historical moment when the world was changing rapidly. Whether it appears shiny or covered with decades of dirt, and where every 1914 penny carries a unique story. For collectors and history lovers alike, holding one of these coins is like holding a tiny piece of the past, a reminder that even the smallest objects can preserve remarkable chapters of history.